time now for the Matt and Todd Show with Big Matt and Diamond Dean.
Good evening, everybody. This is Big Matt, and this is Diamond Dean here. Knowledgeable of all of many things, master of none, but we are here to share some sports news with you guys.
Yes, sir.
We're local people here from the county. We just enjoy talking football, and we're going to share that with you guys today. We're going to hit things such as records from the past SEC teams and the bowl games that they're going to be playing, some of our wins and losses of the bowls that were going to be played, who's going to win, the award winners that we seen the other night, maybe a semi-pick final, and then we're going to try to end it up with next year's Alabama-Auburn, who they're going to bring out.
Yes, sir.
So that's kind of what we're doing. Again, thank you for tuning in and listening to WDKR. I'd like to thank Shane for helping us with this. We're really going to try to make things happen here, and we appreciate everybody listening. So let's get started, Todd. What are we looking at as far as records in the SEC? I have a snippet here from ESPN. This is just a playoff thing. ESPN had 13 national championships, at least for the SEC. Florida 08, 6, 96, LSU 03, 07, Tennessee 98, Alabama 92, 09, 11, 12, 15, 17, Auburn and 10. So basically, looks like the SEC has done fairly well in their bowl games, as we're going to talk about here. They're at they're batting over 600. The Southeastern Conference has arranged to win 9 postseason bowls, not including the college football playoff and the New Year's Six games. The current SEC bowl process coincided to the beginning of the college football playoff and then followed the 2014 college football season. As things have laid out, the SEC has a relationship with both the Birmingham Bowl and the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl, which the ACC represents. So basically, the SEC looks like they're 82 and 51 in all of their bowl games. What do you think about that?
That's pretty good. I can only think of one year, and that was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I believe it was the year Ohio State beat Alabama when Ohio State won it, that the SEC just didn't do good.
Ezekiel Elliott's year.
Ezekiel Elliott.
At Ohio State.
Right. We wasn't expecting that.
No, we did find out that Zeke was pretty good.
Yeah, and also the best receiver in the NFL now played on that team. So we didn't know, but that year the SEC didn't have a good year. That would have been in 14 or 15. But now every year since, I don't remember one where they haven't at least broke even.
The only other close ones, it seems to me, is with 82 and 51. Looks like the Sun Belt 25 and 17. They're batting 595 for average win-loss.
And what's the Big Ten's mark over the last?
Big Ten looks like 47 and 62.
And this is the last 20.
Yes, well, since 2006.
Oh, well, last 13. Okay.
So the Big Ten is batting about 431. They're just right above the MAC, which is batting about 254 for their win-loss average. Looks like the SEC is 6 and 3 in college football playoff games, not versus each other. 1 and 2 in the college football playoff national championship games, not versus each other. So that's some history of what the conference has represented.
And they've been a staple in the CFP Final Four so far, with Alabama and Georgia, and now LSU being in it every year.
Yeah, and the ACC's been represented every year with Clemson now.
Right.
Every year.
Every year.
Yeah, that's great for Dabo. I'm proud for him. All right, the SEC bowl games, we're going to talk about who's playing where, what time. We're going to try to give you some information so everybody can have your bowl game schedule ready and have your popcorn popped and your little smoky smoked and prepared for the bowl games.
You're listening to the Matt and Todd Show on WDKR, Internet Radio, serving Cherokee County, Alabama. WDKR.org.
All right, we do have 9 teams in bowl games again. We got some pretty good matchups, and that's going to start out on the 27th with Texas A&M at Oklahoma State. That will be on ESPN at noon. Some other games of interest are Kentucky and Virginia Tech play at 11 a.m. on ESPN on the 31st. Tennessee and Indiana play in the Gator Bowl that same day on ESPN. That is in Jacksonville, Florida.
What times are the...
That would be at 6.
A&M's playing...
A&M's playing it at noon on the 27th. Louisville, Mississippi State play the 30th at 3 p.m. in Nashville. That will be in the Music City Bowl. All right, moving on to some bigger games. You have Georgia versus Baylor on the 1st.
It's going to be a good one.
That'll be Sugar Bowl, obviously, 7:45 on ESPN. Also on the 1st is Auburn and Minnesota, Outback Bowl, Tampa, Florida at 12. At the same time, Alabama's playing Michigan in the Citrus Bowl. I guess they're assuming that Alabama cares nothing about Auburn and Auburn cares nothing about Alabama.
Now, Auburn's playing on ESPN.
And Alabama will be playing on ABC.
They're on ABC at the same time.
Same time.
And then later that evening, Georgia plays Baylor.
Right.
Okay.
So you got 3 big SEC games that day, and one I missed here was the 30th. Florida and Virginia play on ESPN at 6. And obviously the biggest one will be LSU and Oklahoma in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta at 3 p.m. on Saturday the 28th.
Saturday the 28th.
And that will be followed by, which is the non-SEC game, Ohio State and Clemson at 6, will be 7. All these times are Eastern Standard Times.
Now that's in Tempe, right?
Yeah, what?
Fiesta Bowl?
Glendale.
Glendale. Okay, why not say Tempe?
Well, I'm sure they're pretty close. Arizona. We'll just go with
It's
Arizona.
out there, out west.
Yeah, out
Dry,
west.
hot.
We're not
air.
going. Nobody's going. So,
Well, let's work back from the top. So A&M, who do we like?
all right, we got A&M and Oklahoma State. Now, for me personally, in that one, I'm not real fond of the Big 12 as far as their matchup with the SEC. I don't think they can stop them. A&M hadn't had a great year, but they do got a special quarterback in Kellen Mond. I'm going to take A&M in this one.
Yeah, I would agree. It's going to be a good old rival where they were both in the same conference.
Both of
at
them
one
was in
time.
the same conference.
You know,
at one
so it's
time.
going to kind of maybe spark an old rivalry, I guess, if there was one. We're assuming that A&M probably owns a lot of that games versus each other.
Well, you know, Oklahoma State, of course, they've had some fantastic players. But, you know, when they were in the mix one year. It came down to them and Alabama one year to
Yeah, I
go
remember that.
to the BCS championship. And there was a little bit of uproar because they didn't go. But Alabama had been beat by LSU. Oklahoma State had been beat by Iowa State.
Yeah.
So Alabama got the nod in that and won the national championship. But a lot of people thought that, a lot of people outside of our state thought that Oklahoma State should have gotten in there. But I just think A&M's played a tougher schedule. I'll just be honest. They played Georgia, they played Alabama, they played Auburn, and they played LSU.
They played them all pretty well, I guess as good as they could, because we all know what it's really about. It's really about having players. You got to have dudes. Those dudes are the ones that make plays.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimbo's doing a good job, but he's still new out there, and he's going to get players, and he's going to be competitive in the conference. But I would agree that they would. I think they could be able to handle Oklahoma State.
I would think A&M and Oklahoma State. All right, Kentucky versus Virginia Tech. I think this is a fantastic matchup. I'm going to lean more towards Virginia Tech in it. Kentucky's had a good year. They led the SEC in rushing, but they don't have much of a passing attack. So, what's your thoughts on that?
I would go. I'm going to ride with my SEC guys. I'm going to ride with Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Virginia Tech's okay. They're a good middle ACC team.
Yeah, they're middle of the road.
About like Kentucky, I guess, here. They've won the right amount of games to play in a bowl game, but they're not great.
No.
Kentucky's not as good as they had been.
No,
years ago.
Kentucky had a very good team.
They had a good quarterback
Last
those
year,
years.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Defense is usually okay. I'm going to go with Kentucky. I think they'll pull out something. And which bowl is that?
That will be the Belt Bowl in Charlotte.
Okay.
Charlotte, North Carolina, and that's on the 31st. You know, Kentucky runs the ball. If they can get first downs and control that clock, they got pretty good defense.
Good coaching up there.
Stoops has done a good job up there.
Yeah, I agree.
What people don't realize and want to fail to realize is he don't have a big pool to pick from.
No. Yes, it's a basketball place.
Now, I mean, you know, there's not a lot of talent in the state, and there is talent there, but nothing like Georgia and Alabama and Louisiana.
Yes, I agree.
All right, next bowl, Tennessee and Indiana. I just think the Vols have been playing great, Matt.
Yeah, I think they've got better. I watched them play one of their last games, and defensively, they had a player hurt, and he come back later, and they played better. And their offense is come together, and coach is doing a good job there. He got a hold of his quarterback. You know, that one play was seen on TV where he grabbed his face mask, which back in the 90s when we played, that would have been
It wouldn't have been a big deal.
been fine. But now with all the media and social stuff,
There's a lot of heat over there, and he didn't grab it for.
Yeah.
I mean, probably maybe a second.
no, he hooked it with his finger, not like a old coach that we would know that would just grab it full-heartedly and pull it down the ground.
And from what I understand now, Guarantano called his own number.
Yes,
Is that correct?
yes. I've read that in 2 different articles about that.
So he calls in a power play, and the quarterback just decides, well, I think I can slip in right there. Which, that happens, but it didn't work out.
And if it works, it's okay. You get a pat on the back. You may still get in trouble, but when it don't, it's bad. So I'm gonna go with Tennessee.
Well, Tennessee finished 7-5, and they lost to Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and they lost on the last play of the game to BYU. They said that was an absolute fluke, and they did have the first season where they got upset by Georgia State, but I think Tennessee's improved a lot, and I do think they will win that. Matt, Louisville, Mississippi State, I hate to plead ignorance, but I don't really know. I've not been impressed with Mississippi State this year.
They've had a lot of coaching changes and ups and downs, what they had going on, and they had some, like Ole Miss had some stuff going up the road with people looking into the school, and there's some problems. And it's new coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like to stick with the SEC, but I always try to pick with them.
I'm going to stick with the SEC too. Auburn beat Mississippi State 56-16. I don't know much about Louisville though, and I'm just going to pick Mississippi State in that.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of Louisville since
superstar Lamar Jackson. Yeah, he's doing all right in the pros.
Wow, he's been fantastic.
I never thought he would be possibly one of the best quarterbacks ever.
I know.
As far as running the ball.
And we'll do another show on this topic later about Lamar and some of the NFL stuff, how some people are saying that he's changed the league. I don't agree. I think people like Randall Cunningham that come in my time,
oh, yeah,
those guys were doing it before Lamar was born. But anyway, that's another.
Right, Michael Vick. We won't get into him for sure, but won't get into that. We may talk about that later. A lot of controversy over Michael Vick because he's a honorary captain in the ball game. We'll get into that later, though. Next game would be Florida versus Virginia. Florida. I'm
gonna say Florida big.
I feel like the committee could have had a better matchup than that, just to be honest with you.
The quarterback at Virginia, I've watched some highlights of him play a little, and he's not bad. But in their conference, and they're not even very good in their conference, which is not very good at all.
At top, not top to bottom.
No, Clemson just completely runs that league.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they'll hang on for a little while. Kids are excited. It's a bowl game, but Dan's doing a good job there, and Florida's getting better. So definitely all the way, guys.
I
like 20 on that game.
I don't even think it'll be close. That's just my personal opinion. All right, so moving on, Georgia versus Baylor. This is an interesting matchup. I think Georgia's just been playing about as bad as you can play lately. But Baylor is I was impressed with Baylor. I was impressed with Baylor versus Oklahoma.
They played a good game twice. They blew it the first time, had them beat, let them come back. And Oklahoma winds up winning it in overtime. The second time Jalen had a good game. But I'd like to think on the other side of that, speaking for Georgia, what are they playing for? Are they going to decide that we're going to pack it in for the year? Kind of
like it was questioned of them last year against Texas.
Yeah, how Bama did that year against Oklahoma. It was just packed it in. They were just not excited to play. I know one of the strength coaches down there, and he said that Derrick Henry was excited to play, and he couldn't speak for the rest of the team. And of course, Derrick Henry had a breakout game that night.
Right.
But back to Georgia, Baylor. I don't know. I want to assume that Kirby will do a good job and get them motivated and get in their head to think we need to end the season on a good note.
Right. Finish in the top 10.
They were felt to be. We never really thought they could win the title this year, but we were.
I never did think they would win.
We were thinking though, pretty good chance that they would lose a game or two maybe. But the South Carolina game, they kind of got in their head.
Yeah.
Kirby tried to turn it around. They did, but when you go back and look at Georgia's record, and I'm not a basher of Georgia, I support Georgia. Their scores in their other games,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they scored over 30 in any of the games except for against like an FCS school, you know.
Right.
Other than that, it was like 28-14.
21-14 versus Auburn. 19-13 Texas A&M.
Yeah, I just assumed from how he would light it up against Bama that year down there.
He did.
He had a great day. That he would have a good day against LSU, because I don't think that LSU's defense of this year is as equal to Alabama's of later past years. I don't think so.
No.
I don't think anybody thinks so. So, is Kirby going to have them motivated to come out and play? You know, and they're going to go out and win this game and be positive? Or are they just going to go out there and lay down? Because Baylor can score, man.
Baylor can score.
Right now, they're on their third-string quarterback.
That's what I was going to say. They are, which they say he's pretty good, but I'm going to pick Georgia in this. But, like you said, it'll be a long day for Georgia if they don't go out. And just be ready to play. I mean, they need to just treat it like it's meaningful.
60 minutes.
Yes.
They need to play 60 minutes. I agree.
But I would think that just looking at it, I'm going to pick Georgia.
Yeah, I'm going with Georgia.
I mean, they got a lot to prove from last year, because critics said they just laid an egg against Texas. I didn't think Texas was that bad, but they pretty much hammered them.
Well, and for me in bowl games, if I'm coaching, you know, I want to sell that. How do we want to start next year?
Right, exactly.
That's what my point. My guys are. You seniors that are leaving, we thank you for what you've done. All right, now young guys, especially my juniors, if y'all were going to come back next year and play as seniors, let's set a tone right now. You know, Georgia could have a good stab at it. I mean, who's going to be competitive with them next year? Florida.
Right. Well, I mean, they're going to be good for a while.
They're going to be favored to win the East for many years.
Auburn versus Minnesota. I'm going to. I watch this Auburn team, Matt, and
row the boat, man. Are you rowing the boat?
I'm like, they're getting drilled. Now look at the score, and it's tied.
I know.
I've done that 3 times this year.
Yeah.
I'm like, Alabama looks 10 times better than them. I look up there and it's 10-10. And I'm like, oh, wow, this team just don't go away. Auburn and Minnesota's got a good team. They only lost to Iowa and Wisconsin, but yet again, I think that Auburn's schedule, which has been very tough.
Yeah, they've had one of the toughest schedules.
I think it's going to play out in the end, and I think they will get to win. Of course, they got a freshman quarterback. I don't know. Auburn's just an odd team. I think they're good, but they're not flashy. But they win. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Well, I think there's a lot of pressure on Gus because of, well, obviously there's not now, but
he needs to win this game.
During that time, it seemed like they were pressured to win the Iron Bowl mostly, but that kind of keeps you a job at Auburn. If you're beating Alabama on an every other year basis, they're going to keep you around. And obviously they did. They offered him a big extension. You know, they're going to keep him longer. So, I would pick Auburn to beat Minnesota. It's just the same thing as talent. It's what I was talking about earlier about dudes, and this school they have dudes, man. Auburn's got guys down there that can pass rush, they can cover the pass, they can stop the run, they're fast up the middle, they can cover the ends with their linebackers. They're good, man. So I don't think Minnesota has.
I do think Minnesota is getting there, though.
The 5-star athletes versus the 3-star. And after a while, I think Minnesota will keep up because Coach Fleck is a good coach. And I think he's definitely got the program going in the way they would want it to by their administrators. I'm sure they want to keep him. They're not looking to run him off. But I don't think talent, when you go match up man on man,
right.
I'm going to go with Auburn.
Well, I think if it comes down to, I hate to put pressure on a freshman, but Bo Nix, if he throws a bunch of picks, it's going to be Minnesota's game. And, sometimes Nix, and the same thing with Mac Jones at Alabama, but not Burrow this year, and Tua didn't do it a whole lot much, but sometimes they just make bad throws. Just bad throws. I mean, you don't even know what they're doing.
Well, when you throw the ball against good defenders, it makes it better. I remember I talked to Jamie Hampton when he came home one time, and he was talking about how much smaller the windows get. This when he was at Troy. The difference from playing around here, local, Cedar Bluff, when you're playing at college, well, the same thing's going to be for Bo. Those windows are smaller, I think, when he's playing LSU and Bama.
Right.
Whereas with Minnesota, I think those windows are not going to close as fast.
Right.
I think he'll have a good game. He'll have a good game. He's ready for this. His daddy's brought him into this, and he'll be fine. I think he'll go 20 for 35, And if they can rush for over 150, Auburn should have.
If they can, they got a good little running back. Whitlow's good, which, we saw him play against Fife.
Yeah.
He didn't have any yards against them.
No, well,
that just adds to the Fife mystique there, don't it?
Good coach, well-coached team up there at 5.
All right, so we're picking Auburn in that and the nail biter. Now let's move on to Alabama versus Michigan in the Citrus Bowl. This is Alabama without Tua. Michigan's very good. Man, I don't want to be an SEC homer, but I'm just going to have to go with Alabama.
Sure, you have to. Jim has been on the hot seat of late because of the conference, because he hadn't beat Ohio State, and they really got drummed this year good. And it's just kind of basically about how talent matches up on talent. Mm-hmm. And when you have the same kind of talent, and guys are against each other, so what's going on then? Well, you would assume that it's coaching. You're not being able to develop players.
Right.
And we would assume that Harbaugh could be able to develop players. But with Bama, their defense is young. They have 4 starters, freshmen on defense at all times nearly, sometimes 6 on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they will have times when they're 6. They got 4 starters, right? But that experience. But I just don't think that.
It's a bigger game for Jim than it is for Nick.
I don't think that.
You know what I'm saying?
Michigan's run first.
If Alabama loses this game, it's going to be like they weren't motivated. Well, they felt like they'd been slighted because they dropped them so far down the pole.
Yeah.
They put them in a bad bowl. They give them a different time. They slot them in these weird bowls. They don't feel respected, so they're not going to play well. So they can play that side of it, or Michigan.
They can motivate them.
Yeah, Michigan could say, this is huge for us because they've just not looked sharp. They've been expected to win more because Jim is a good coach, and now they're talking about offers to the Cowboys. They're talking about offers to other NFL teams. They're going to have his brother. I don't know. It's more important for Jim to win this game than it is for Nick.
Well, they went 9-3, and they did play Ohio State valiantly, but they lost. They lost to Notre Dame bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just don't see Alabama losing to Michigan in this bowl. I think Mac Jones does a good job. The weapons, if the line will give him time, he can find the weapons, and you know who the weapons are. And I'm just going to pick Alabama, and I don't think it'll be a blowout.
Now that's
7 to 10 points.
The Outback Bowl at noon.
No, that will be the Citrus Bowl at noon.
Citrus Bowl at noon.
Auburn and Outback.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're staying with the SEC,
yeah,
but I mean, except for Kentucky, I actually
I
pulled
just
for.
picked that to
go
against you, just to be opposite.
Actually, our biggest game of the between SEC teams, or for an SEC team, is on the 28th, and that will be LSU versus Oklahoma in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. I think you know my thoughts on this. I just don't. I mean, I enjoy watching them. I don't see them getting beat. I'll wait before I pick a national champion. I just do not see anybody being able to stop Burrow.
Well, here it comes down to defense wins titles. It's always kind of been stragged that way, but LSU is good in their own right. But here's something nobody's talking about. I heard one guy. We'll talk about one guy, Burrow, and that's what the nation is getting his attention. Well, the thing is, what I just said was defense does win championships, but there's something nobody else said. I heard one of the talkers on ESPN. I forgot his name. It was a good point, and nobody said it to him. And I was thinking it before he said it. A running quarterback gives LSU trouble, and if anybody can give them a little trouble, now I'm not picking Oklahoma to win.
Right.
But I'm just saying, Jalen Hurts can keep it close, I think, till halftime. But I think overall, talent's going to shine down towards the end. Cream rises to the top always. So I would assume that LSU would win this game. I'm pulling for Jalen, and I've enjoyed watching him play. He's a great young man.
He has. He's
transferred, handled the Tua
situation.
Great. Transferred over back to where he's kind of from. I would assume
he could give fits. This could be a high scoring affair.
The over-under was 63.
Is it 60? I would say would they go over.
I would assume that too.
I'd say maybe 40. I'm just guessing 42 to 30. one, something like that. But yes, Hurts can give them trouble. Hurts has had a great year, but I mean,
the running quarterback at Ole Miss give LSU.
Oh, he gave them fits.
Highlights that game.
Fits.
That gives them trouble because they're big up front. They're kind of built like Bama's old defenses on the front there. LSU is. So just keep an eye on Jalen to rush for. If he rushes over 100 and throws, if he goes 25 for 30 or 25 for 35, man, they may keep it close.
Well, and another thing, I don't think people. They say a lot about Burrow, which he's great, but man, his receivers are awesome.
They are good.
I mean, their route running. I mean, he threw for 400 yards. He's thrown for 400 against everybody. I mean, or 300, over 300 against everybody, not 400.
Well, speaking of the wars now, their receiver.
Yeah, Jamar Chase won the Bolitnikoff. Burrow won both the quarterback, the O'Brien and the Maxwell.
Yeah.
So, and yes, Jamar Chase. We're going to talk about that real quick. We're moving on. We're picking LSU in a high-scoring affair. Right?
Yeah, it's going to be like a 46 to 38 or something.
You're listening to the Matt and Todd Show on WDKR, Internet Radio, serving Cherokee County, Alabama. WDKR.org.
All right, back to Burrow. He did win the Maxwell and the Davey O'Brien the quarterback trophies. Chase Young won the defensive trophies. The defensive awards have been Narek, the Nagurski. Was it Nagurski?
Yeah.
May be wrong on that. But he did win Defensive Player of the Year. Chase won the Bolitnikoff. Jonathan Taylor won the running back trophy. Ed Orgeron won Coach of the Year. His assistant, who is Burrow's position coach, Joe Brady won the Assistant Coach of the Year. Rodrigo Blankenship won the Kicker of the Year, and Brant Delpit won the Jim Thorpe Defensive Back. So that's LSU players.
LSU, Grant Delpit wins the Jim Thorpe, the Home Depot Coach of the Year. Of course, you just said Coach O wins that, and Joe Burrow gets the Maxwell and the Walter.
And we assume, unless something happens to him on the way to the presentation tomorrow night, I would assume he's going to get the Heisman, and he'll still get it then.
Justin Herbert won the academic Heisman.
He did. He won the academic Heisman.
That's impressive all in itself. But the defensive player, of course, we talked about Chase Young.
Man, he should have.
While we're talking about Ohio State, how is Ohio State going to fare against Clemson? It's not in our conference, and we're kind of sticking to SEC, but it's a big game. So,
man, they're loaded. They're loaded. Everybody talks about their defense, and yes, I do think their defense is good. But Fields and that J.K. Dobbins, I mean, they're just awesome. And I'm going to take Ohio State in that one. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it'll be within a touchdown.
Now, who's the two corners at Onaku?
I can't even pronounce his name.
Okua.
He's going first round.
Okua is good.
And Fuller.
Okua is smaller. He's not a big guy, and I don't think he matches up well against Clemson. That does worry me.
Clemson's loaded now. They got ATN and Lawrence.
They're long-armed, but Okua is a smaller guy. He's strong inside, keeps his hands on his guy. He's got long arms, got a good reach.
Now, he is a first-round draft pick.
Yes, and he's instinctive to the ball.
Right.
And he's been coached up there because Coach Meyer started an SEC trend. Big Ten fans may not agree with that. Mm-hmm. He started the SEC-type football at Ohio State. I think that's what's kept
them competitive. Like Wisconsin does, too.
They kind of play that way.
Wisconsin plays more... Well, SEC and the way old Nebraska used to play.
Old LSU
type
stuff. But I personally think Clemson wins this game because they've been in the playoff every year.
They have. They're used to it.
Trevor Lawrence has made hardly any mistakes.
He's never lost a game in college.
And it's just amazing to watch how they have reloaded. Their defense has played well. And I know everybody's going to say, well, they ain't played nobody. That's true. But experience counts for a lot. Experience can count even over age and over talent sometimes. I see Trevor and them going into the game. I think they come off a little sputtery at first. Dabo gets a hold on them. Mm-hmm. The man's had the national championship trophy. I'm going to go with coaching in this game.
Right.
I'm going to side with coaching and experience in the playoff. I'm going to go with Clemson like a 36 to 30 type game.
That's a good point because Day is his first big game. And
Justin Fields' first big game.
Justin Fields' first big game.
They have a lot of guys that's never played. I mean, Ohio State's only been there one other time, right?
Right.
They beat Bama there.
Elliott and them won it.
But Clemson beat Ohio State the last time they played 31-0. Deshaun and them beat them that year at the Fiesta Bowl. 31-0. Ohio
They
State.
did go that other time.
Yeah.
They've been twice, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The semi, and Clemson blowed them off.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
They're
yeah.
0-3 versus Clemson. I don't. It's not going to be a shutdown like that year. Deshaun and them. He had his. QB.
That was the year they won it to the touchdown
Yes.
at the end of the
They
game.
run the legal rub route. Bama got robbed down there, and then okay.
All right, we'll move on to that.
Well, he even said it in the interview after the game.
Well, that does not get called much. It does get called some. I don't know. I mean, obviously you shouldn't be able to block a defender, but it's just it's easy to get by with it when people's playing man on you. Yes, I would go with.
So you're going Ohio
I'm
State.
going Ohio
LSU
State.
for the
Yes.
title. Ohio, LSU State.
Now, of course, I don't know. I'll have to come back and discuss that.
Ohio versus LSU, and
Yeah,
I got
Clemson.
Clemson versus.
But I don't think Clemson's a bad pick. You know, we get a couple of these games here. You get Indiana hammers Tennessee, and Michigan and Minnesota upset Auburn, Alabama. I mean, excuse me. I'm sorry. You get Virginia beating Florida, which is ACC, and all of a sudden, boom, I wait. And Virginia Tech beating Kentucky, all of a sudden, the ACC's not that bad.
Yeah, and that's what I opened the show up with that, talking about their win percentage, and
Right.
and the ACC's 82-51, and the Big Ten is 47-62 with 400.431. So it could change around because the ACC is they're right above the Big Ten. They're 59-63. They're batting a 484 win-loss percentage with that.
I just remember a few years ago, to me, I thought it was the worst bowl there was. Mississippi State, Dak Prescott was their quarterback. Georgia Tech run the wishbone. I'm like, this is just going to be a beatdown. Yeah, it was. Georgia Tech beat them 49-30. So that was when Prescott was there and rushed for 450 yards. It was awful. So you can't ever tell. You know, it's easy to say a conference is terrible, but we really don't know until these matchups happen. Am I not correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do, and
That's what we do for fun. A lot of it.
this
for fun.
is the thing that you get into when watching these other talk shows, the big money guys talking about Clemson, LSU, or Ohio State, LSU. Who should be one? Who should be two? Well, Clemson's not lost a game. Stephen A. says that they ain't lost because that's not some respect.
Right.
Kellerman believes that you haven't lost a game. How is that not? How can you not respect a team that's not lost a game and they're still winning, and you drop them into three? If it had been Alabama, they'd have stayed one. They'd have been one as long as
Right.
they're winning. And it,
Right.
and
They
it is a
would have.
little a bias to our Alabama bias that we've always kind of got the nod in some of those situations. I agree, we have.
They get the love, but I mean,
Well, it's what you do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting paid commentating on ESPN. You're splitting hairs, literally, to have something to talk about. Because LSU and Ohio State,
we
1-2,
have no idea.
they're really close in a lot of ways. And you're just not going to know till they play. But the fun part is talking about it. And people say, why? How could you disagree with one being one? Ohio State should be one. Man, these are fine-tuned college
They're good.
football teams.
They're good.
They're very close in similarity. And if we didn't split that hair, then there would be nothing to talk about, and we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Well, I can go out to Hartons and say who's going to win LSU, Ohio State if they play in the championship, and the guys out there are going to say LSU will kill them. Then I can go right up here to Cornwall, and the guy I know up there is going to say it won't even be close, Ohio State. Truth is, we don't know. We don't know. And you're right, it is splitting hairs. We have no clue.
All right, now.
No mutual opponents, anything. Okay.
No.
You're listening to the Matt and Todd Show on WDKR, Internet Radio, serving Cherokee County, Alabama. WDKR.org.
Thank y'all for tuning in to WDKR. We appreciate everything that Shane's got us set up here to do, and we're going to wrap it up here with next year's stuff with Bama Auburn, what they're bringing back, and we can only assume this. Thank you guys for listening to us and hanging in there. We hope you enjoyed it. We're going to start putting some stuff together every week. Big Matt and Diamond Dean here. We thank y'all for listening. Thank Shane again at WDKR. We're going to finish in with Bama Auburn next year. What they're bringing back, Todd, we don't know. We've seen some stuff. We read AL.com. We look at down south. What's going on next year?
Well, I'll just be honest with you. Alabama's got a lot of guys that could go on pro, but if they were to not, I would think that
They'd be favored to win the title.
I would think so.
Most people would favor them.
I mean, you got Ruggs, Judy, Smith, Harris, and Xavier McKinney, and Amford and Jennings. I think those are the guys that are on the. They can all go pro. I would assume Judy's going pro.
I read that he was mocked to be, a top 10 guy.
And I would assume Anthony Jennings is going pro. But now Smith, I don't know. And I don't know about Ruggs and Harris. Harris is probably gone. But I think it'll be a mixture. Let's at least hope it's a mixture. If all of them go, I just don't know. I mean, Alabama's not going to be bad, don't get me wrong. But I don't think they're going to be contending. They'll have Trey Sanders, they'll have Mac Jones back, Waddle, and they'll have a running back. Trey Sanders is the running back that was out this year, and they'll have Brian Robinson. And I'm sure somebody will come along and step up. Now, defensively, I think Alabama will be fine next year.
Yeah, I do too.
Especially if McKinney comes back, which he may. He led him in tackles. He may come back. He's a good player, but you'll have Dylan Moses back. You've got the outside linebacker, Terrell Lewis, who I think's got a lot of potential back. And now you've got two freshmen that's played all year.
Yeah.
Back.
That's a good experience. That's a good point.
Right.
They're going to have played a lot of football games. They're coming back next year. That'll be good. Coach Saban will definitely get them on the rise.
The defense will be better.
The recruiting right now, we picked up the Stanley, the kid from Lynette.
Story. Yes, Christian
Story. We picked him up. He kind of looks like a Tua. I didn't say hey throw, so don't everybody start freaking out and hit me on Facebook. You can't compare him to Tua.
Right.
He kind of looks like him. He's kind of thick-legged.
Yeah.
Kind of thick in the middle. He's got a good deep ball. Runs hard, but it looks like he's not running. So recruiting trail, Bama's pulling in big. Looks like they may. I read today on a 24/7 Sports that they may pull a number 1 class. It's very possible.
Wow.
And this is the layoff from no conference game, no early bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
That gives us a big time to go out and recruit.
Now, as far as the offensive line, Alabama seems to always be okay up front. But I know Leatherwood, he may or may not go pro. But looks like Jones is definitely going to be the quarterback. I don't expect Tua to come back if he gets healed tomorrow. And
I don't either. I don't think he has nothing else to prove. As a fan of the game of football,
right.
You wouldn't want to see Tua come back. You would want to see him come back and play. I would like to see if he can play a year healthy. If he can play a year without being hurt, that would be good. And I think it would. It could help his stock to rise if he plays a whole year next year without being hurt. If he goes out now, some people are going to be very unsure, I think, until they see his combine stuff, which is in April, of him to run and lift and do that kind of stuff.
I don't see Harris coming back, not with the success of the Alabama backs in the pros right now with Jacobs and Ingram.
The way he ran the ball against Auburn and them,
he
looked like he was trying to make a point. Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah.
He was showing out. He's
done that the last 2 or 3 games.
Yes, seems like he's getting ready. He's had somebody to do a mock draft for him. Coach Saban has friends, and somebody, of course, told him, yes, he's probably going to be a first round. It's like he's trying to show out. They bring him back. A lot of those guys we're talking about, Bama's going to be favored. And they're going to be ranked low. They're 13 now for the playoff.
13, which I don't agree with. I'm not going to.
They could beat half the teams above them. I
think they could beat half.
Just honestly.
They might not could beat the top 3. I think they could beat Oklahoma.
I agree. But
they've obviously lost to LSU.
Wouldn't Vegas favor Alabama to win a lot of those games from number 5 down to 10?
I would think so.
We would have seen that.
Yeah.
So they come back, yes. Now, as moving on to Auburn next year, they're going to bring back a lot of players. We know the quarterback's coming back.
They got a lot back.
They're losing their 2 dudes, those big guys.
They're losing the 2 defensive linemen.
and
Brown and
an offensive lineman or something that's coming out. But other than that, they're going to be pretty good.
I think they're going to be contenders. Now, I do say this. I think that the Auburn-Alabama game, which will be 2 days after Thanksgiving next year, will be for the West. I think. Unless Joe Burrow comes back.
Yeah.
But I just, Auburn's, they didn't lose a lot. I mean, their skill players are back. Their linebackers are back. Their secondary's back. I mean, I think they'll be very good. And like I said, Alabama either way is going to be all right. But now they're going to be hard to deal with if Ruggs and Harris come back. But I don't think. Let me say this real quick. I don't see Judy, Smith, Harris, or Tua coming back. Ruggs may come back, and McKinney may come back.
Now, Auburn had, I've seen a few commits, offensive and defensive linemen. Had a young guy from Georgia I'd seen coming. Looks like to be a big guy. He's going to work well for them. Auburn recruits good out of Georgia.
They do. They're right there. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but where they're located, you go into Georgia, man, it's just loaded with talent.
Yes, oh, absolutely.
LaGrange and that area over there, I mean, there's just,
There's enough to go around.
Yeah.
It can spread a little bit over the line.
So their recruiting trips, they just need to go into LaGrange.
Alabama has picked up, I've seen them pick up a lot of players from New Jersey, California.
Fitzpatrick from New Jersey.
That's amazing how Nick Saban's arm reaches so far to be out there. So, anyway.
But yes, I expect them both to be excellent.
They're both top 7 teams.
Definitely.
Top 7. Auburn, Alabama should be in the top 7 next year.
I don't see anywhere. Well, what's Auburn right now? 10? 11, which I'm not. No, that's probably accurate. They have lost 3 games, but they lost to Florida, LSU, and Georgia. Mm-hmm. And they'll be even better. I didn't think their offense was that great this year, but it will be better next year, obviously, with everybody coming back. I mean, when I say everybody skill-wise, I mean everybody. The running backs, the receivers. They got the fastest player in the conference. And they need to get the ball to him more, which he did get hurt against Alabama.
They brought in Norris from Ole Miss. I personally think that's just a way for.
You know about the guy from Arkansas?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I say Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's
my bad. That's my fault. Sorry, Rebels. I mean insult you. The guy from Arkansas. I think it's just a way for Gus to deflect his lack of offensive coordinating to bounce it off of. It looked like. And I'm saying that because of this. It looked like him and Cody Burns got into it in the Iron Bowl.
Right.
When they were going to the timeout and the TV break, the camera stayed on them a while, and him and Cody were going at it.
Yes, I saw that.
They were very frustrated with each other about something. Now, we'll find out if you could. I'm sure we could look it up, see if Cody's still there on staff or whatever, if he's gone.
I don't know.
I'd assume Chad would be brought in to be a quarterback coach. But they're saying he's going to be offensive. And Gus has never give up the offensive play calling. And a lot of their fans, the fan base and the alumni, is not happy with Gus at all.
I think he's probably a little lacking in that area. I'm not saying he's terrible, but he may not be the best out there.
It's just kind of, it's gotten dull, 1, and 2, he is not, he just cannot develop players.
Right. It just seems like they stay where they are.
That's what people, I've heard other fans of them and alumni, people in school there, that don't think he can develop players.
The quarterback especially.
Yes, the quarterback position. So maybe that's why he's brought Chad down to do that. And he has done it at places he's been. He's developed quarterbacks all over the place. So
he just had a tough row of it. He didn't do good as a head coach, which obviously does not mean
so he could be right.
He might be a great.
His record is not good.
No.
But, maybe that don't mean nothing. And good luck to them next year, and good luck to Bama. Looks like they're both going to be
I think they're both going to be very good. I wouldn't see for a letdown anytime soon, especially with Auburn going to have the same quarterback, more than likely, for the next 3 years.
You're listening to the Matt and Todd Show on WDKR, Internet Radio, serving Cherokee County, Alabama. WDKR.org.
So basically, run back through what we've talked about. We went through Ohio State versus LSU. Todd's picking them two to play for the title. I'm picking Clemson LSU to play for the title in the bowl games. We went through some of the award winners. Coach Brady, what a good job he's done at LSU.
Yeah.
He should probably got Coach of the Year, man. He did a great job. LSU's loaded. They're going to have a good season. I think we both kind of feel like they may win it all. We kind of feel that way. We'll cover that more later. The other bowl picks and wins and losses, we already went through those. We kind of stick on the SEC, guys.
Right, we are. Man.
We're going to assume that our conference is going to maybe dump one of those games. I would assume one, maybe two of those teams will lose.
Yeah, and there may be an upset here and there.
I'd agree.
You know, the one you're not expecting.
In the past records, what we open the show with, stuff to talk about, on average, the SEC is pretty good at bowl games.
Yeah, 6-3 at least.
Yeah.
You know, probably.
We're thinking they'll be pretty good. Again, thank you for tuning in to Todd and Matt here. We appreciate your time and listening. And we thank Shane again, WDKR.org. You can tune in there if you're listening now. We really do appreciate it. This is Todd and Matt, Football Talk here. We're signing out. Thank you.
Thank you.